Hey, what's going on? So it's 4:30 in the morning. I am in um the very nice place where people like the lounge of the hotel where I guess you have breakfast in the morning. They do a full buffet again, right? Because COVID restrictions are gone and that kind of thing. So tonight was very, very tough. That's why I'm coming to you at 4:30 in the morning. So ICW, was it a great show? Absolutely. Was the main event spectacular? It was. It was great to see Dan and Tank. It was wonderful to know that Tank um, won that match with the Six Monsters and will be getting a title shot at Murdoch, John Wayne Murdoch, the American Deathmatch champion in Chattanooga. That's wonderful. It's great. I didn't see that match. How can that be, Steve? Because the match before, um, Logan Creed, Mads Kruger, um, wrestled Satujin, who's a guy that I saw from him like sort of breaking into ICW, and now he's a member of the Rejects and over like Rover, and he had a great match. They had the kind of match where it was, you know, along with Tank, the best debuts I've ever seen, right? Or Nolan Edward, the name that we should not speak, where they just made that indelible first impression, and it was going so great. And then the spot near the end, where they put a plate of pane of glass, and then Satujin barrels into it, but it's the wrong kind of glass, clearly, and it just split. I'll probably put a video up on full disclosure, and it just cut the shit out of Logan. So they knew it was something was wrong right away. So Logan loses the match. I mean, that's all incidental stuff, right? Referee stoppage, blah blah blah. But he's bleeding like a stuck pig, and you could see in one of the pictures in my thumbnail, like he's just walking to the back, but he's clearly hurt. And he knows he's hurt, and get him to the back, and it's not chaos because they have people there to take care of it. They have a policeman on site, so he's applying pressure where it needs to be applied. They call for an ambulance. It gets there very quickly. Um, but and I know a lot of this is going to come across as me bragging about myself or some bullshit, but it's really not that. I just want to tell you what happened. And so as soon as I saw he was hurt, and he's in the sort of back area. Now this is an outdoor show, so there's like a trailer, and then like an entranceway area, and then like an open area. And we always sit in front of that trailer, so it's like I wanted to go back there, but I didn't know if it was my place. And then finally, I just fuck it, I'm just gonna go back there. Like I just told Dan, like I'm gonna go, and Dan's like, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and so I could see that he was hurt badly enough. The cut here in particular was, and we found out later at the hospital. I found out like 30 minutes ago. It was like arterial shot, so artery cut. That's why he was just bleeding so profusely. But he had cuts in a lot of different places. And again, because I went to the hospital and hung out with him for a few hours, um, I got to find out about every fucking thing that happened. That you know, he was cut, he was bleeding. He had so many stitches that the nurses stopped counting at a certain point. So yeah, a lot. Um, if you had any doubt that Logan Creed was the toughest motherfucker, he's the toughest motherfucker. Um, a lot of guys flex and like, oh, I'm really tough, not just fake tough and blah, blah, whatever. Logan Creed is fucking tough as shit. Danny D'Amato came back and praised him. Great, you can come back anytime and blah blah blah. Which, I mean, I would expect nothing else from him. Danny, meaning Danny D'Amato. Um, I may have thoughts during this thing that I'm doing. The reason I'm using the headset mic, by the way, is because there's like music playing, and I don't want it to get copy, whatever. So just know that's why I'm using the headset mic. And the guy at the front desk was nice enough to say, "Yeah, you can go in there. You're gonna do YouTube thing." I'm like, "That's exactly what I'm doing." And so it became apparent no one was gonna wait with Logan, and I just didn't feel like that was right. I would have wanted to do this anyway. I consider Logan a friend. Um, and I realized it made me flash back to all the times I'd been to the hospital, whether it was Jay Fury getting hurt, um, way back to when I was wrestling and like Mo Bush was wrestling Chan, and they did a jaw buster spot, but Mo Bush's head hit his cheek and just collapsed the side of his face. And I just remember not a lot of people visiting Chan, but I went first thing. I felt like I was the only one that I guess you could argue that was representing the office that was there, and I remember that really bothering me. I don't, I probably shouldn't say any of these things. Well, fuck it, it's the truth. I think something that separates wrestling people and not wrestling people of a certain cloth is, and this is something I do like about myself very much, is all these guys who talk a lot of shit and all these guys who fancy themselves wrestling people, especially when it's going well. But it's the people who come through when you're really needed and when it's a real sacrifice are the real ones, as the kids would say. I shouldn't keep talking, but I'm going to. So, find out what hospital he's going to. Watch to the end of the show, and then at that point, got to decide what to do. So, my car is still there at the pawn shop in our like hidden spot parking lot. Hopefully, it's okay. I just didn't care about any of that. I made sure gathered Logan's things in two different bags that he had. And Colby Carino helped me with that. A lot of people were freaked out because you notice in those pictures on the thumbnail, one of them was that bloody chair. That's Logan's blood, all of it. All over that fucking chair. Pooled. I don't mean just sprayed. I mean pooled next to that chair. Look at that picture again in the thumbnail. It's shocking, right? It's a ton of blood. Um, and people were happy to help, but you could tell that was freaking people out. So Colby Carino, never met him before. He had a great match, by the way, but he helped me, and so we got his stuff together. And that point, what's the plan? So I made sure before Logan got on the ambulance, like discuss what do you want, what do you need, da 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 da. Da. And then he was like, I want my wallet. And then I'm like, and then I'll take your keys and we'll figure that out with your truck. Okay. Got him the wallet. And then I realized right before he was getting put in the ambulance, like, shit, you need your phone. And he's like, I do. Fuck. So I ran back, got his phone. So he had those two bits. I had everything else. Took his bags, put him in his truck. His truck was parked in. Luckily, it's a big old truck, and there was just grass in front of him, so whatever. In any case, end of the show comes. Dan, Tank, Annie, Jeff, they want to go eat, so they're going to go to this wing place. And they're like, so we'll be at this wing place, but I already knew, like, this is going to be a thing that takes forever. And I was not wrong by very much. It took forever. So I went to go see Logan. But then they have the main artery road, or artery, yikes, 19 blocked off by cops. It was still blocked off hours later when I went to go get Logan food and bring it back. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But eventually I get there. And I'm the one who makes the call to Brooklyn, let Brooklyn know what happened. And talking her through it and being truthful about what's going on. And then a number of people contacted me, like, what's going on? So, depending on who they were, I let them know what I needed to let them know. If it's Ron, I'm telling him everything. If it's Brooklyn, I'm telling her everything. Everybody else, I needed no basis. Plus, there's a lot of people who were contacting me, which shows how much people care about Logan, or they're just trying to dig up dirt or whatever the fuck. But it is what it is. So I go to the hospital, and he's there, and they're still working on him. They're still stitching him up. I kind, I kind of. This is a funny story. So I don't know what his real name is. So I text Brooklyn like, "What's his real name?" So I get to the tent, the area. I just figure he's probably emergency. So I went to emergency. It turns out I was right. I was expecting to have to pay for parking and all this other bullshit. So I'm moving money around just to make sure I have enough on my card in case they don't take cash. Blah 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 blah. Turns out I didn't need to do any of that. But whatever. Go to the tent where they um go. Who are you here for? Say his name. I don't know who that is. Looks on the computer. Blah 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 blah. Don't know who that is. I'm like, shh. And then they like describe the. So I describe cut, bad cut here, real tall guy. And they go, oh, Logan. So Logan left his gimmick name with them, thinking that's the only one I would know. And then here I am trying to use his real name. Ridiculous. Anyway, so I get, go in, get this badge, still got it on, and then go see him, room 10. And they're working on him. Doctors working on him, nurses working on him, and I see his blood everywhere and bloody bandages everywhere, and they're finishing stitches here and then gauzing him up, and I mean he's cut everywhere. He's got a cut on his leg. That's one I didn't know that they had to stitch up. He's got this thing. It was nasty as fuck. That I don't know how many stitches and staples they had to put in that thing, and then his chest, and then his back later. When you look, there's just like little bits of glass all in it. I mean, what was he? And apparently he. Well, I'm not gonna talk too much about what I was told. Like that's his business, right? Um, long story short, like it was arduous, and I was keeping the proper people updated. And then Jeff and them told me like, Dan and Annie and Hank are going to spend the night in our room because they'd originally got the house, the Airbnb house for everybody, but it was in Kissimmee, which is kind of closer to Orlando, so it's like hours away, right? And so it's like they weren't in the mood to go back on that, and I don't blame them. So they're going to sleep on the floor. But as soon as they said they're going to sleep on the floor, I'm like, no, they're not. Because once I'm gone for a couple hours, it doesn't make sense for them to sleep on the floor. But the thing is, I knew I would come back and it would be now, and I would be weary as fuck, and I'd be tired. And I am tired. I'm almost 50, right? This is not my meat. I was really willing to do it. Obviously, I did do it, but I went in the room to grab the laptop because I'm like, this is the most war journal yet. I gotta get this down now while I'm thinking about it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a few hours sleep and then go back and get Logan. I have his truck. So I'm gonna go back and get him. Hopefully he's feeling better. So so they stitched him up, blah 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 blah. He's thirsty, they give him some juice, la la la. And then he's fired up to go. Like let's go. They take a long time to process. It's hospitals, right? And so we're making plans. He's like, I'm starving. I'm like, of course you are. Like they bring him some food, but dude, the dude is huge, right? So it's like, okay, we'll go grab like Waffle House is the only thing that's open. It's nearby. Great. And then I'll drive you to Waffle House, eat with you, see how you feel. If you feel like you still can't drive, then I was like, then I'll check out a room, sleep, get up, and I'll drive you wherever you need to go. I have the day more or less free tomorrow, though. Now I'm thinking like, God, am I gonna have to drive him all the way fucking back home somehow? And what are we gonna do by car? All these things. Do I take him to Ron's? Ron's like 45 minutes away. I don't know, man. So there's so much to think about. But so he's up and he's moving. He put on his clothes, and then all of a sudden he got lightheaded. It's serious stuff. So they're taking his blood pressure. It's low. Well, maybe we'll do this. Lay down, give you some more to eat and drink, and then we'll try sitting you up for a few minutes. And if you still feel good, then we'll move you to swing your legs over. And then if you still feel good, then we'll stand you up. And we have a wheelchair here. We can wheel you out and la 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 la. I mean, we were at the point where it was like, Steve, you can go get the truck and then bring it around, and I'll just meet you out there. We were that close to leaving, but it was when he sat up, he got lightheaded, and then it was like It's a wrap. And his blood pressure kept going up and down. I don't want you to think this is serious. What it probably is he lost so much blood. His hemoglobins were fine, which means like the blood content was fine. It was just he had lost a lot of liquids between having a badass kick-ass match, the stress and trauma of what happened to him, um, and then the and the blood loss. So one thing I learned about Logan, which I suspected now I know, is he's very smart. He knows his body very well. I need sugar. I need to have these drinks. I need to have some food. And then when he sensed like, I need to get some sleep. I'm just gonna spend the night here in the hospital. And he's like, go get sleep. But I felt so guilty, man. Like it's like I wanted to do more, which I know is gonna sound crazy to people. Like fucking, you're the one who stayed with him, and why do just seeing him hurt and seeing him deprived of, and he said it himself, right? He's like, it was so great, the rush, and he knew he did great, and he did do fucking great, and then have it stolen by the last like fuckery related thing with the glass plate. It's criminal, man. It's fucked up. It sucks. It sucks, and I guess I just felt bad. I had to keep up a brave face and joke and laugh with him, and we joked about cute nurses and all that other stuff. Was Logan and I have been known to admire a beautiful woman. Don't know if you knew that, um, but I don't know, man. I just felt so bad, and it took me back to all those times where people would get hurt, and sometimes they didn't really have anybody to go to the hospital, so I would always go. I don't. Oh my God, I've been to the hospital so many times for wrestling related shit, and it was never mine. I never had to go to the hospital. Even when I was severely hurt, I didn't go. Um, so it definitely took me back. And I found myself going through these different stages of things. Like I'd be mad at people inside my head. I would not let Logan see it, but how come so and so didn't fucking? And that's not the right way to think. It's not the right way to think at all. Um, and I had made the I was not gonna bullshit Brooklyn. I was not going to bullshit his wife about anything going on. So if I heard something, I just let her know, and she seemed to appreciate it. And she's a nurse, so she knows the fucking deal, right? Um, and she was great, right? Like normal stuff, like she's worried. Of course she's worried. When the fucking message you get from me on Facebook Messenger is like, "Hey, Logan got hurt, but he is okay. Here's my number if you need to call." She calls right away. Um, I don't know, man. Like there are things that happen in wrestling. I'm just going to be completely honest about this, where I'll be talking to a friend of mine, and then I'll go, for what? And what's crazy is, I don't feel that way about this one. And I don't think Logan does either. He's so happy that he did so well. And we talked about all kinds of shit. We talked about fucking Kruger shit and MLW, and talked about the person in the WWF who's his contact person, and how this person is sort of evolving and learning how WWE in particular really works. And I was sharing with him the people that I talk to in WWE. We those are the conversations Logan and I usually have, and so it was nice to talk about that stuff because he's a guy who should be signed. It's clear, right? He should be in the big time. And MLW's getting him there, and they're obviously believing in him, and that's wonderful. But I don't know. We're talking shop, having a good time, and then he decides he's going to stay overnight, and I just felt bad, man. Like, oh, he didn't even get to fucking get his trip to the Waffle House. So I'm like, what do you want from the Waffle House? I'll grab it. It's close. I'll grab it and come back. And so he just acquiesces. He's like patty melt, hash browns, great. Um, so I go get him, come back. They recognize me because got the fucking green jacket, right? Oh, it's this guy. I'm funny, flirting with nurses. um, but he's kind of fading. He's laying down. Everything is like he fought the good fight and he did everything he's supposed to do and it was time to sleep. But I was like, "Do you want to eat now?" And he goes, "They're about to move me rooms. I'm just gonna eat real fast and then go to bed." He's like, "Get the fuck out of here and go get some sleep." So I ate, because I was gonna eat with him, but I just ate mine real fast. Um, Came back and then when I grabbed the laptop, of course, there was somebody in the bed, and I had made a joke with Logan, like, if there's anybody in that bed, I'm gonna set up the laptop to film, and I'm gonna light it with a flashlight, and I'm gonna run it, I'm gonna splash them. But it's Dan and Annie, and I don't want to be that guy. I thought it'd be funny, but I'm just like, you know what? They did a great job, and they're exhausted. Everybody's exhausted, right? Jeff was, we did this fucking drive to get here, and Jeff fucking slept until it was time for the show. Everybody's tired. And so I don't want you to take anything I say too seriously in the sense that I'm exhausted. Right? I fucking drove to Port Richey and then I'm going to sit down with my good friend Jeff and Kendall Wallace was there and it's like we're going to watch this thing and celebrate and Brandon and Casey Kirk who were going to be stuck because of the No Peace show being canceled. They didn't know what the fuck they were going to do. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to drive them to Orlando in the morning, but they told me, no, Colby's going to take us. You're good. Thank you. Blah blah blah. Great. Um, but I think I'm just going to have this really great evening, and it turns into I just had a revelation. I'm going to tell you what that is in just a second. But Logan got hurt, and I immediately went into. I mean, that's how deep this wrestling shit is in my DNA, and being in charge and being a leader. These are all things that, to an extent, I've always had, but I definitely have developed because my thing was like, how can I help? What can I make happen? What can I facilitate? What decisions can I make for somebody that may not want to make them for themselves for any number of reasons because they don't want to be impolite or Logan feels bad. Like Logan has nothing to feel bad about. None of this is his fault. And I'm glad that I was here. Like that's the revelation that I just had a little while ago is I'm glad. Yeah, I wanted to relax and have fun and now I'm already dreading like I know tomorrow's going to be in some way shape or form arduous. Best case scenario, he feels great in the morning in a few hours. It's fucking 5 in the morning now almost. That he feels good, that I grab him, that they release him in a relatively fast amount of time so I don't have to fucking wait forever there. He feels good enough to drive his truck. We drive to my car. My car's perfect and fine. And then I get to go back to Orlando. In a perfect world, that happens early enough that I can clean the fuck up. Because now it's going to be 4 or 5 people using the fucking shower before I use it. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at. I got to make this clear. I'm not mad at anybody. And I wouldn't want them to sleep on the fucking floor if they don't have to sleep on the fucking floor. Especially because I'm not going to get in there until well after 5. But like, fuck. I don't want to sleep on the fucking floor. I just don't. I'm just not up for it, man. But that's what's going to happen. But the weird thing is, I wouldn't have it any other way. I was the right guy. I was the right guy who would think of Brooklyn. I'm the right guy to communicate with her. I'm the right guy to handle all the other things that would come in. I'm the right guy. And I'm proud of that. And people might wish for my demise and have worked to try to fucking ruin my reputation and all the rest of it. But all these motherfuckers who go out of their way, oh boy. Boy, even at 5 in the morning after an exhausting day, I can fucking still Steven Platinum out, can't I? All these motherfuckers. And I'm looking at you, and I know you're watching this shit. You motherfuckers try to fuck me over. Just know this. I know you don't have a heart worth a shit. And I know that your reaction to something like Logan getting hurt in that serious way would have been to see blood and throw up, or just avoid it, or run around in panic, or just not deal with it. And that's what makes you you, and that's what makes me great. Because other people cut and run, or look to somebody else to fucking handle shit and take charge. And some of us, we happy few, actually take charge. You can't buy one of these anymore, right? It's long out of print, etc., etc. But even if you could, in this wrestling shit, this jacket, before there was Squid Game, there was me in this. And this is more than just a branding thing. This means motherfucker that knows what he's doing. The motherfucker that you want here. The motherfucker that's going to make sure if he's here to cover your show, his fucking tweets are going to get you tens of thousands of views. This motherfucker, this right here, if I come in to run your locker room, that means shit's going to run better than it has ever run for you. This motherfucker right here shows up with this shit. It means when shit really hits the fan and decisions have to be made and things have to get done, I'm not only going to figure out what needs to get done and work with the person in question to get them done, I actually have the willpower and the mentality to do it. I didn't do anything tonight that anybody else wouldn't have been capable of doing. I'm not saying that. I am saying that at the end of the day, I'm glad I'm glad if it had to happen that I was around, because I'm always the right guy for the fucking job when it comes to do anything in wrestling. And that goes for fuckers in WWE, fuckers in AEW, Ring of Honor, NWA, or any of these Georgia or Florida indie groups. Pro wrestling, and I don't think I've ever said this out loud and meant it. Of course I love wrestling. But you know, wrestling is lucky to have me. And that's the solace. That's the blanket that I will curl up with when I'm sleeping on the floor.